Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? This is Richie, and we are bringing on my dad. For the first time in his Jets media career, he is joining a video because we want to give you guys a topic that we call Darkness to Light, really highlighting Aaron Rodgers' injury and how he can really still make an everlasting impact on this New York Jets team. Now, my dad actually wrote a book that we're going to connect to because it does connect with Aaron Rodgers a lot. So I'm really excited to give you guys this video. So, Dad, welcome to the show. And what do you got?
Thank you, Richard. This is more than a pleasure. I really appreciate this opportunity. I want to start by just saying that you've done a phenomenal job building your studio. We are very proud of you. This is great. And I just want to start by saying one quick thing. It's kind of funny, but Rodgers' impact on the Jets has been tremendous. But Richard and I are sitting in a studio that is because of Rodgers. If Rodgers didn't come to the Jets, we're not sitting in this studio. The impact that he has had on the Jets organization, the Jets team, and our lives is amazing. And it's extremely positive. And I think the important thing right now is we were hit by something rather catastrophic, and we have to cope with it. We have to deal with it, and we have to deal with it in the best possible light. And I think that's what we want to bring out. We want to discuss this. We want to talk about it. There's a lot we can bring to ourselves from this situation, and there's hopefully a good and great year that could come of this situation. So I think if we work together on it, we discuss it, people talk about it, I think it'll be a very healthy thing. And if we do what Rodgers did for himself, we'll all come out in far better shape than we were before Rodgers came to New York. And Rodgers coming to New York was a great and wonderful thing from so many points of view. Me being a New York City guy, my book is based on being in New York City. And I loved when he came, and what he brought to New York was amazing. And I think we want to discuss that more.
Yeah, so my dad actually wrote a book, for those guys that are not aware. It's called Autobiography of a New York City Salesman. And the whole topic of this book really connects with Aaron Rodgers. And this book has changed my life. This got published 5 years ago. So it's not like this is just brand new. And when Aaron Rodgers came to the Jets, it really hit home for me because I always looked at Aaron. I loved Aaron outside of just his football career because what he embodied off the football field. And the whole idea of my dad's book is a parallel life, meaning you go to work every day, like my dad as a New York City salesman, like Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback in the NFL, but you can still go off the field and go off your work life and really focus on yourself, focus on your mind and evolve your consciousness and making sure that you have a really good relationship with life in general. And I really think that Aaron coming to the Jets has elevated the awareness of everybody in this organization, whether it's the front office, whether it's the players, and more importantly, the fan base, right? He really brought us fans together and brought us to a new level of excitement and a new level of just vision that we've never had before as a fan base. So I really wanted to get my dad on this, on a video for a lot of different reasons, and I'm happy that it's happening today. And listen, the Aaron Rodgers injury is catastrophic to this team this year, but I really do think that his impact on this team throughout the entire offseason and the entire summer is still going to help this team have a good season this year, and that's what we're going to be breaking down. So this is my dad's book. It's called Autobiography of a New York City Salesman, and it's basically his parallel life going through conscious evolution. So, Dad, do you have any topics or points you want to hit on?
Well, the first thing I wanted to say was based on your introduction. When you say that Rodgers impacted the Jets organization, the fans, more importantly is that he's impacting just about every fan in the NFL only because he's Aaron Rodgers. So it's not just any ordinary quarterback or any ordinary person who does what they do. He's a phenomenal human being who's delivered his own expertise, and he's valued by everyone in the football world. So when Aaron Rodgers decided just to retire alone, it wasn't just the Jet fans or the Packer fans that were so interested. It was everybody. Everybody knows him. He's second only to Brady, maybe, as far as, just automatic fame. And when he made this decision to move out of the Packers and go to the Jets, and he did it through this crazy idea, which is what most people understood it to be, is crazy. Darkness, what is that? Where did darkness come from? Who goes into darkness? And then as he's explaining it live, there's darkness to the Big Apple. As he starts explaining it, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of things we can discuss, but me personally, my connection to the darkness idea is that the parallel life in my book is about something that we all could relate to. The darkness, or his approach to darkness, is the fact that he has a very rich and deep internal life. And we all have a deep and internal life. I don't care who you are. You have your own conscience that you live with every day, all the time. When you go to sleep at night, those last few minutes or seconds before you go to sleep, it's just you alone. We all have our own internal world. And we're all very comfortable and familiar with that internal world. And we want that internal world to be as positive and bright as it can be. But in the case of what Rodgers brought to everybody in such a big manner was, what is it like to be so internal to yourself that you're comfortable with going into darkness to try to make a gigantic decision? And that's what he did. He made the biggest decision of his life, which is, should I retire after 4 MVPs, a Super Bowl, and becoming such an icon? Should I retire and take that and go, or do I return to football? And if I do return, how do I return? And with his darkness idea, he was able to resonate with himself and generate a decision that he was then going to manifest into the world. And again, when I say into the world, he's not some high school or college quarterback who made that decision. He's an icon. So when he did this, it was like, wow, that caught my ear and my eye, because what I feel is darkness, or what I feel is deeply internal to myself, and why I wrote the book, is that we have an internal life to deliver to our entire life, whether it's be our relationships, our friendships, our jobs, our relationship to money. Everything that we do in our lives is really connected to what you are inside. And what Aaron Rodgers did, which I had enormous respect for, was that he went alone with himself, came out with a decision, and then you have the next phenomenal thing. Not only did he do that, but then he delivers it to New York City. And I've always been proud of New York City, because it kind of is the image of the world. When you think of New York City, you're thinking about nothing. Everyone has a very strong association to New York City. It's just a super powerful place. It has Madison Square Garden. It has the history of being the Empire State Building and everything else that's happened around New York City. So he comes to New York City and delivers this tremendous image, and then he starts manifesting it in a way that was absolutely stellar. I mean, he comes into New York, and again, a lot of reactions to Rodgers' decision and how he did it. The whole darkness thing caught everybody off guard. Nobody understood it, right? We're looking at a lot of interviews on TV. These guys are like, what? What the hell did you do, Aaron? What does darkness mean? How did you... Yeah, and he's saying, I sat in darkness for, how many days was it?
It was 3 days.
3 full days in the darkness, and came out with this decision. And then he goes and manifests it to New York City and the entire NFL, and he does it with such professionalism, such calm, such peace, that he made that decision. And he didn't see, I was looking to see, well, did he like second guess himself? Did he think, well, was this a good idea or not? And he didn't blink an eye. It's like he came to New York City and just loved it, and everyone could feel it. If you're a Jet fan, right? You started seeing him at Knick games. You saw him at Ranger
He embodied
games.
the city of New York, and he really brought a new elevation to the entire feel. I mean, whether it was May into June, he just brought a new vision, and that's kind of what we wanted to bring as well. Another topic is that Rodgers delivers a new vision to the Jets, and even though he is not going to be on the football field, even though he's not going to be the quarterback this season until he returns from his Achilles injury, which, by the way, the surgery went very well, and we're hopeful that he'll be back on the field ASAP, but I really think that his impact of this organization is going to be felt. And you saw that on Monday night. I mean, that victory that the Jets had over the Bills after Rodgers going down after 4 snaps, and for them to pull off the win that they did with the emotion that that team had at halftime. I mean, you guys watched the Pat McAfee show. Aaron was telling us that he was sobbing in the locker room, and Garrett went up to him, and Aaron said to him, "I'm sorry, kid." And like he was crying with Randall Cobb. It was a highly emotional time for this Jets team. But the fact that Robert Saleh and the entire Jets coaching staff and the entire team stayed together, linked arms, and had to go to battle with the Buffalo Bills in the most disappointing time in the entire organization with all the hype, and for Zach to go out there and for this team to get that W, it just shows you the impact that Aaron has on this organization spiritually. It really does, because the adversity that was thrown their way shows you, and that's what connects to this book that we're talking about that my dad wrote, is it really helps you, have a relationship with life, because unfortunately life does throw a lot of curveballs at you. It throws some things, and how can you cope with change? How can you take adversity as a sign for development instead of a sign to kick you down to the curb? And I think that, this whole thing that Aaron brought to this franchise and brought to this organization not only impacted the team with that Monday night victory, but it also impacted us as fans. And these are the types of ideas that can help us in everyday lives. So when you are somebody that adversity kicks you in the butt, or there's something not going well in your life, whether it's family, whether it's a job-related thing, it doesn't matter what it is, just know that these types of ideas and these ideologies that Aaron Rodgers is always talking about, they're in my dad's book, and I'm really thankful to have a father that has opened me up to this type of perspective of life, and that's really why we wanted to make this video, and it's been a long time coming. I've always wanted to do this, and I thank you guys for listening to this, because we personally believe, my dad and I, that Rodgers has delivered a new, fresh vision to this Jets team that's going to be there throughout the entire season, even though he's not going to be the quarterback.
And let's talk about that for a second. I think what's really stood out was when Rodgers came to the training camp, and we went there together, as well as Richard was there pretty much every training camp. But what was so amazing was that when he brought that level of being that he has, and he has a level of being. What level of being means is everything about a person, right? It's their mannerisms, it's their professionalism, it's his smile, and what he brings to it most is this amazing talent that he has so well under control. So he comes, and let's just talk about that, or think about this for a second. The Jet team, let's take the Jets just from the short beginning, Joe Douglas era, Joe Douglas and Saleh era, which I have personally loved. Now, I've been a Jet fan since Joe Namath. I saw Joe Namath play in Shea Stadium. So, I'm a big Jet fan. I'm nowhere near as close to Richard, and his knowledge and his intensity and his passion and all that is I've always been a Jet fan, and we've lived through hell. We all know that. Every Jet fan on here, or anyone who listens to this, knows that the Jets have had a rough couple of, 3 decades, 4 decades? It's really long. And, to see after last year and what happened and the whole Zach thing, which we could talk a lot more about, because the Zach story is far from over. Actually, it might be beginning. So Aaron comes to this camp, and his presence alone, just him walking in, alters your vision, alters the way you feel. And look at this team that Saleh and Joe Douglas has put together. They're not only mostly young, if not all, but they're extremely talented. They're incredibly passionate. They practically love each other. If you watched Hard Knocks or you watch One Jets Drive, you see the connection, you see the chemistry, the synergy of this team. And you just have Zach, who has a lot of talent, but has some maturity to develop. And they see this guy come into the Jet camp of all camps. You're talking about the Jets. We all know what that means. The Jets are always getting shit on. They're always getting knocked down, and all that kind of thing has happened a million times. We're all tired of it. Rodgers comes in, the spirit of the Jets completely changed. And I think that was the most important thing that I saw. Again, my book is mostly about psychology. It's mostly about developing a relationship to life that's extremely positive and extremely appreciative. And one thing that I think we all did is we all appreciated the fact that Aaron Rodgers chose the Jets. I mean, how about that? I mean, wasn't that alone was mind-blowing. That alone changed all of our vision of the Jets. So he comes to the Jets, and you add him to Joe Douglas and Saleh and this young team, and you put him on the field, and he automatically, and this is very important, and it's all important in our own lives. Again, this comes down to our own lives too. And we all have to elevate ourselves and see things in the world that elevate us. And when Rodgers came to the training camp, and we saw him walking around and all that, and starting to throw to our guys, it was just like you have this vision of success. Suddenly we felt confident, right? I mean, isn't that what you felt? This confidence that you never had as a Jet fan and right?
A sense of hope that was real and not fake, and like not convincing myself that this is going to be special and knowing it's going to be special. And, and Aaron brought that. And I think that the team around Aaron also has an impact on that, which is why I still have optimistic views of this team minus Aaron Rodgers, because of the job that Douglas and Saleh has done to build this roster around the quarterback. And I think that what Aaron did in training camp has also been really important for Zach Wilson's development. I mean, we'll see what happens with Zach against the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow and the rest of the season. But listen, I think Aaron Rodgers' impact on Zach has already been, I've been noticing little things. And the biggest thing I've noticed from Zach Wilson this season that we haven't seen a lot in a while is self-confidence. And I think Aaron Rodgers embodies self-love. And if anybody watches Aaron Rodgers' podcast of like what he talks about off the field, about his, other side of his life, if you guys are interested in that, I do recommend listening to him. Obviously, we know that he's into some things that are, out there. But the main point of his ayahuasca experience was self-love, unconditional love of the self. And that comes with confidence. And Zach Wilson has that now. And you don't have that self-confidence without all support around you. Aaron spread his wing and put Zach underneath him and taught him the ways. And now we have the entire organization and the entire team rallying around Zach. And Zach has confidence in himself. Aaron spoke on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and was asked about Zach Wilson. And he said, I got a lot of confidence in Zach. But more importantly, he has confidence in himself. And we saw Zach lose all of his confidence last season at the end of the year. That's where he started spiraling downward. We all know Zach has the talent, but it's a matter if he can stay confident within himself and really believe that he can be the guy. Because if he does not believe he can be the guy, guess what? He will not be the guy. And I think that Aaron has a lot to do with that. You can also connect to Mekhi Becton, that whole story when Aaron Rodgers detected Mekhi Becton being a little down on himself and being a little separate from the team. Aaron noticed that, and Aaron realized, I got to bring him underneath my wing. I'm going to talk to him. I want to hear his story. I want to hear his life. I want to listen to him. And when that happened, you saw a different Mekhi emerge. Mekhi all of a sudden is now the starting right tackle for the Jets, and Mekhi is being part of the team. And these are just little examples that Aaron's impact has had on this organization. And not only that, you see the relationship he's developed with Sauce Gardner with their handshake. Garrett Wilson, you saw one Jets drive, that hug that Aaron and Garrett Wilson had, and hearing Aaron say, sorry, kid, to Garrett after the injury. I mean, it still breaks my heart hearing that. You just can tell that Aaron has elevated the vision of this entire team, not only the players, but us as fans as well. And I think that Jets fans need to embody that and realize that it's a special time, man. And even though he's not going to be the quarterback anymore, which is devastating, I still think that his impact is going to be out there for this entire season. And that brings us to this last point of the video, is how Rodgers elevated this team and fan base to new heights. And I really believe that his addition to this organization that we've been talking about throughout this entire video is he elevated all of our minds to new heights. He was manifesting something from the get-go, and obviously it did not go as planned, but the story is not done. The story is not done. We heard from Aaron last night on the Pat McAfee show say that he is ready to prove everybody wrong in his rehab. He is fighting to come back at some point at the end of the season, which I'm not even going to put my hopes into that, but more importantly, he's ready for next season in 24. And I think that he is determined, and I think that his vision and his embodiment and his relationship with life has overall elevated not only the team but us as fans. Because remember, Jets fans, like my dad mentioned, we've been through it and we deserve a winner. We deserve something to be proud of, and I really think that Robert Saleh has this team in the palm of his hands after what we saw on Monday night. And obviously we'll see what happens against the Cowboys game, but there's a long season ahead of us, and I genuinely believe that Rodgers is a big reason for the elevation of this entire team and fan base.
And I think it's important for all of us to not understand, but also realize the position that Zach is in. That's very important. Here's a young guy who came to the Jets, came to New York, has had 2 years, went through a really bad time last year, and look at the position he was put in. So first he gets the exposure to Rodgers for the training camp. Rodgers takes him under his wing. Rodgers doesn't come in as an arrogant snob, as if to say, get away from me. You see what I do, I'm the best. That's the end of it. He's grooming Zach. He even said it. I'm here for 2 years, and the goal is to hand it off to Zach. So he takes Zach under his wing, right? Zach is learning. He's got the right attitude. He knows he's sitting there next to an icon. He's watching him. The entire team is changing the way they see themselves. These are young guys, too. That's another thing. It's just a warm and exciting to see is when you see Sauce and you see Garrett and you see Becton, and of course I can't go through this video without mentioning Q, because he's my favorite guy. I mean, I look at that guy and you just feel good, right? I mean, he's a monster. He's phenomenal, but he's the most lovable guy you could possibly imagine. So you get these young guys super intensely elevated to a new level. They're super motivated. They're all together. They go in, and now they're there on Monday night. And let's just talk about Monday night for a second, because I don't think that could be probably without a doubt, our best night in New York sports history for us. I mean, we were at a World Series game once with the Mets, which was a great moment for us. But that night was amazing. And again, I don't know how many of the people who watch this video know of Richard's other channel with the Round Table. But that night we had the Round Table there, and these guys were great. If you don't know about it, we got a Bills guy, we have a Patriots guy, we have a Dolphins guy, and Richard, and they're all together, and they're at the game literally doing a broadcast, which was phenomenal. These guys are amazing. We met them, and then we go into this game, and what happened on that night, we'll never forget it, of course. But now think about it from Zach's point of view. I mean, here the whole world is looking, the whole NFL football world is looking for Aaron Rodgers and see how he's going to impact the Jets of all teams. Again, from the world's point of view, I think the Jets have always been this weird team in the background who never, competes practically, And now they have Rodgers, and they have this young team, and they're on Hard Knocks, and here's the big game. It starts. The game is just amazing in the beginning with all the fanfare and the electricity of New York / New Jersey / Jets Nation, the whole thing. Everything is just exploding with excitement, and boom, Rodgers goes down. And we're all sick. Every single one of us is sick to our stomachs that even happened. But then, again, I just want to try to stay on point with Zach. Zach is asked to take center stage as the quarterback in this insane Monday Night Football situation with the millions of fans watching and the 80,000 fans there. He got to know how everyone probably feels. He's like, oh my God, I have to take over for Rodgers at this moment. I got to go out there and start playing. Now, again, getting back to the Jets for this year, 2023, they got a phenomenal team. They got the defense. They got weapons on the offense they didn't have last year. And this year, they also have Hackett in the background making the calls. So now Zach is out there. Must be pretty damn nervous, I would think. But he handles it well. Again, he's not going to be perfect. He's going to make Zach moves. He's still Zach. But he was Zach who's been impacted by Rodgers, the way Rodgers impacted them, with an elevated team that's super spirited. And then we go and experience that whole game, which was a mixture of just a sickening feeling in the pit of our stomach. Richard's behind me getting updates. I'm like, what's going on? He's going to come back, right? And I'm like innocently thinking, he must have just sprained his, he'll be right back. It's probably nothing. He's in the tent. He'll come out. Meanwhile, we're slowly getting drips of information. And Richard says, it might be Achilles. And we're like, it can't be. So we're all getting sick inside. But what do the Jets do? What does Saleh do? Another thing that I just wanted to make a quick point of, it's something that I realized watching sports so much recently, is how the coach, of all people, it's the whole coaching staff and ownership, of course, but the coach has to be out there and watch that happen and not miss a beat. The entire team can't miss a beat. They can't go and put their head down and start crying. We were sitting there kind of like in our seats, sick. We wanted to leave. Part of us wanted to just like give up. I can't believe this has happened. There's no way. And then we thought the Bills was going to kill them. I did anyway. The rest of the first half, they're losing the game. And then what you start seeing, which is what this video is really about, it's about the energy that Rodgers brought from his darkness retreat to New York City, elevating a young team, giving them hope, spirit, confidence, this vision of success. And there they are. Are they going to crumble and fall to the Bills of all teams? And what do? They start fighting back and fighting back. Zach keeps his constitution, which is he doesn't lose it. He keeps it. The play calling is better. The Jets are playing better. He makes a mistake or two. The interception was a disaster. It reminded us of some past things, which you can't blame him. Again, look at the situation he's in. And then you have the ultimate end of the game. I mean, with Gibson running that. Well, I mean, first let's talk about Brees for a second. I mean, those runs were just completely insane.
Oh my gosh!
And talk about how inspired he brought coming back from an injury too. If we put this together, you have Brees coming back from an injury. Meanwhile, thinking about Rodgers being injured, and then you have Brees having the best game of his life. Right?
Yeah, I mean, coming off an ACL to see what he did, it was inspiring. After that ACL tear, and then of course, Zach throws that interception that he brought up, and something I want to allude to is the job that Nathaniel Hackett did in the game. We heard what Hackett said to Zach in that moment, and he went up to Zach and he told him, take a deep breath, relax, let it go, let's go still have some fun. And the old Zach would have spiraled after that and would have lost his confidence. But Hackett does a great job with young quarterbacks, and he really got inside of Zach's head and said, listen, let's take a breath and let's move on, because that's what quarterbacks need to do. They need to have a short-term mindset and not let it linger, not let it really expand on it. And Zach did that. He let go of the bad interception. And what did he do? 8 for 12 or something, 9 for 12. I don't know the exact stats, for 90 yards in the fourth quarter, led a touchdown drive. One of the throws to Allen Lazard on 3rd and 5. The pocket's collapsing. Instead of abandoning it like he usually does, he stays tall, is falling down, flips it to Lazard for the first down. And then later on in that drive in the red zone, 3rd and 5, delivers a rifle to Garrett Wilson for the first down. And then the next 2 plays after that, he throws up a ball to Garrett Wilson, which was not the best throw from Zach, but Garrett Wilson makes it look like the best catch in Jets history. I mean, that catch was magical, and that just shows you the little signs of growth from Zach Wilson. And obviously, we are all hopeful that he can somehow show some consistency, because that's what's going to make or break his career. And then the next play after that touchdown, the whole crowd goes back to that energy that we heard in the opening pregame, and Josh Allen fumbles the snap. And then that's when the momentum turns, and that's when the Jets come out on top with that victory. And the whole point of just breaking down this game from this lens is the way that this Jets team battled adversity is something to be reckoned with. It's something to really talk about, and it's something that Robert Saleh has always said, and I've always loved Saleh, but this season, especially Hard Knocks, has shown me a new Robert Saleh, and like his positive perception of this team and his ability to get inside of the brains of every single player and let them go a little inch further. Now what is his mantra? Now what? Okay, you did this, you succeeded at this, now what? What's that next step? And I think Saleh is embodying this team, and it just shows you that this team has fight, they have resilience, because they easily could have crumbled, like we talked about, in the locker room, say, wow, Rodgers is done for the year, we have no hope. Let's just go out there and try to do our best. But that's not the case. They went out there and played with more energy. And like being at the game, the biggest takeaway I had, which I've said all week, is that it felt like the Jets wanted that game more than the Bills. They showed more life. They showed more spirit. And that was because of Aaron Rodgers. And that's really the main point of this, is like we wanted to have this closure video to, honor Aaron Rodgers and like know that he's not going anywhere. He's still going to be with this organization. He's going to be flying back with this team after he's cleared to fly after his surgery. He's going to be on the sidelines. He's going to be in the booth. He's going to be rehabbing at One Jets Drive. And the Aaron Rodgers story is not done. It's just getting started. And now he's going to pass the baton over to Zach. And as Jets fans, let's just hope and just support Zach and hope that this team can do what they can do this year by making some noise. And another thing about this squad this season that's different is completely changed the narrative, right? We were the overhyped team that everybody was expecting to reach new heights, and some people were screaming at the Jets like they're overrated. Why does everyone keep talking about them? Well, now it's flipped on its head. We are the underdogs. Everybody's going to be rooting for us because of what happened, and I think that this Jets team has a chance to be the Cinderella team of the NFL if everything goes right, and I really genuinely believe that they have what it takes to win. Even if they lose against the Cowboys, I still think this season is going to be trending in the right direction because of the job that Robert Saleh has done. So, Dad, I just want to say thank you for joining this video. I know this is a longer video at 30 minutes. So, guys, if you stayed all the way to the end, comment down below your thoughts and your overall perspective of my dad bringing his vision of the Jets and his vision of Rodgers. And, his book will be linked down below in the description if any of you guys are interested in checking it out. Yes, we do share the same name. His name is Rich. My name is Richie, or Richard, as you heard from him. So, Dad, I really do appreciate you joining. I know that this is something you've always wanted to do, and I really appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure, and let's go Jets.
Let's go Jets, everybody. Hit that like button, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and let us know if you want to see more dad content on the channel. So let's go Jets, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.